Hello! Welcome to my dorm room. This is the first video I've recorded since I left for college because I don't have my usual backdrop or my nicer camera, but I really want to get out a review for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because I got to see an advanced screening of this movie last Friday, and I am so excited to talk about this movie because I loved this movie. If you know me, you know that I'm a big Disney and Pixar purist. I don't think I've ever loved a movie, an animated movie, that wasn't made by Disney or Pixar until Sony's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Sony Animation Studios is a studio that doesn't get a lot of respect in the animation community because they make movies like Angry Birds and the Emoji Movie last year. And man, was this a big change for them, because this movie was thrilling in its visuals, and more than just visuals, even though the visuals are the things that get discussed the most, because, and deservedly so, because every scene in this movie, just from looking at it, gave me goosebumps. Visually, this movie pushes the boundaries of animation and style. It's a highly stylized movie, which is something that's really been lacking in modern animated movies, in the 3D animated era, because this movie mixes a lot of different styles and mixes different techniques, and it breaks the mold, honestly, that even as much as I love so much of what Disney and Pixar do, and if you know me, you know I am obsessed with Disney and Pixar, it's good that this movie pushed those boundaries, and it is redefining the modern animated movie, hopefully, and kind of allowing us to go beyond how realistic can we make this look, and pushing it into embracing the fact that this is a cartoon. And this movie really celebrates the fact that this movie is animated. It embraces that, and it makes the most use of the fact that it is animated. It's a great... There are people... See, this is why I don't film at college. There's like people screaming. That's why I haven't filmed at college yet. People just scream all the time for no reason. So this movie really is more than just its visuals. It's not just style, it has substance as well, and so that's what I want to talk about next with some of the characters. The most compelling character of the bunch is, of course, Miles Morales, our main protagonist. I've read some of his comic stories and really enjoyed them. He's a really fun character and a very relatable character, and you always want to root for this kid. It's cool seeing him on the big screen because we've seen the Peter Parker story done a lot of times, and although there are some parallels with Miles Morales, it is really cool to see a Spider-Man story told from this different perspective, this different point of view from a different character. And of course we do get Peter Parker in this movie as well, and he's very funny and utilized very well, and I'm not going to get into spoilers, so I won't. But another character who I was very happy to see on the big screen was Spider-Gwen. I've really enjoyed the Spider-Gwen comics, and I've got my Spider-Gwen shirt on right now. Super excited to see her on the big screen. The art style in her comics are very unique and very interesting and so much fun to look at. Just beautiful art style in those. If you haven't read the Spider-Gwen comics, I highly recommend it. And that art style carries over into the movie. What's really interesting is this movie utilizes different art styles for the different characters. So when we get brief glimpses into the Spider-Gwen dimension, it really is the Spider-Gwen art style from the comics brought to the big screen, and it's a gorgeous art style. And so that's done for each of the different Spider people. Like Spider-Noir will be standing there and the wind will be blowing on his trench coat even though there's no wind in whatever room they're in. And so stuff like that is really funny. Also, Penny Parker is animated in kind of a 2D flat style, like anime inspired. And so that it's very cool to see these different art styles kind of blend together, because like I said, they really embrace the fact that this is a cartoon. They celebrate the fact that this is animated, and so they use those different styles, and instead of just sticking to how realistic can we make this look, and it really is nice. I got talking about the art style again, but I want to get back to the characters for one more second, because Miles is truly done very well, very compelling. Gwen is done very well. I was so happy to see her translated so well to the big screen. She's a lot of fun, and her and Miles together, I really want to see more of the two of them. And Peter's relationship with Miles as well is incredibly compelling, because it pushes Peter and Miles in a really interesting direction. And it's definitely a version of Peter Parker we have not seen done before on the big screen. And obviously we haven't seen Miles or Spider-Gwen done either. So I'm really glad that we got to see those three interacting, and the other Spider people as well, Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, and SP2 / Penny Parker. They're a lot of fun together. And what's interesting is we got less of the other Spider people than I was expecting to. It really is Miles' story, which is a good thing, because Miles is a great character, and I was really happy to see that this really did stay focused on Miles. And there's that scene from the very first trailer where he jumps off the building and he's swinging through the city. And even though I had watched that trailer a bunch of times, sitting and seeing that in the theater within the context of the movie, again, no spoilers, it brought a tear to my eye. It's so inspiring. The story of Miles is a really inspiring one. It affected me more so than the Peter Parker stories I've seen on the big screen. It was really touching and inspiring, and I've only seen the movie once, so this is tentative. I'm still thinking about it, but I would probably say that this is the best Spider-Man movie that has been released so far. I love Homecoming, but after seeing the things that are accomplished with this movie, in terms of translating comics, it's done so wonderfully and in such a compelling way, character-wise and especially visually. I can't wait to watch this movie again. It truly pushes the boundaries of how we see animation, because in modern Hollywood and mainly in the Western world, less so in, I think, Japan kind of respects the potential of animation a little bit more, because it's not seen as kid stuff there, you know. I don't see animation as kid stuff. There are people like me, but I view Pixar movies and Disney Animation Studios movies on the same level with any other movie. They're not kids movies to me, and to see a movie like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse really push through some of the limits that we've set for ourselves. We kind of have a tendency now, modernly, to see live action as the end goal. Like, live action is as high as art gets. Like, if something is being adapted in live action, it's getting the live action treatment. It's getting that high thing. But animation can be just as meaningful as live action, and I think as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has proved, it can be more meaningful, because this movie does not work in live action. It doesn't work, which is why I really love the fact that they brought a comic to life in this way. We see live action superhero movies as bringing a comic to life, but to me this is a much more effective way of doing that. And the reason, even though I am, as I said before, the most diehard fan of Disney and Pixar, the reason I'm rooting for this Sony Animation Studios movie to succeed, and honestly I'm rooting for it to win Best Animated Picture at the Oscars above Incredibles 2, a Pixar movie, and Ralph Breaks the Internet, a Disney Animation Studios movie. Both movies I liked very much. I liked Ralph Breaks the Internet more than I liked Incredibles 2. But I'm shocked that I'm saying this, because I never thought I would say, in a year with a Pixar movie and a Disney Animation Studios movie, that I liked a Sony Animation Studios movie more than both of them. But I did. And I'm rooting for this movie to succeed, because I hope it challenges Disney and Pixar to do more unique work. I feel like you could say they've kind of gotten in a little bit of a rut, even though I like their modern movies. I'd love to see more originality from their studios, and I hope that a movie like this, for all it's inspired me, I hope it inspires them at Disney and Pixar as well. I really can't overstate my feelings on this movie. I had a... Do you ever feel high walking out of a movie theater? I've never actually been high before, but I feel like that must be what it's like when I walking out of this theater and feeling inspired by Miles' story, but also inspired seeing such a great creative work in a world where Hollywood feels kind of stuck. So I really encourage you to see this movie, and I will see it as many times in theaters as I can. It's gorgeous in every sense of the word. It's a beautiful movie. So go out and support it. I know December's a crowded month for movies, but I hope you give it your time, because it deserves it. I forgot to mention, they didn't direct it, but Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the directors of the Lego Movie, I think one of them was involved in writing it, and the other was like a producer or something. They didn't direct it, but you can see their influence here. They're really good filmmakers, if you don't know, they were fired from directing Solo. I don't know why. I think they were straying from the script too much, but anyway, their influence is very present here. So, yeah, I am rooting for this movie, and I hope you go check it out, because I'm going to go check it out again. Thwip thwip.